Just leave it to me. I was the pilot of the Gundam.
You're listening to the show that's so good it makes you want to bright slap your moms. That's right. It's Gundam at MAHQ, episode 8. God. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about, well, the first segment will be about Gundam Seed and ways that it can be fixed. You may think it's perfect, or you may think it's impossible, but we have some solutions, and I hope you're riveted. Next, we have an anime spot.
Don't treat us too harshly.
That's right.
Don't we have feelings too.
Keep the pitchforks and torches away.
That's right. Just hold them at bay for a moment and just hear us out. And also in the second segment we have Anime Spotlight, and we're spotlighting Megazone 23. It's a great show, and I look forward to you guys hearing what we have to say on it, and look forward to hearing what you have to say about it after we're done. Also, we're going to continue our Super Tomino Wars on the non-Gundam based shows that Yoshiyuki Tomino has done throughout the years. But first, we're here. With me here in the studio is
Neo,
and also podcasting live from Miami is
Chris.
That's right. And I'm gonna pass the mic off to Neo for his news, and I hope you guys are duly informed.
And here they are. It's fresh off the press. Got a couple little news stories. I'm sure most people already know this, and my news is actually coming from two different places today. It's Anime News Network.
Oh, variating.
And
ANN. Oh, snap.
And courtesy of always the Ganoda, or Ganoda. But the first one, I'm sure a lot of guys out there already have, a lot of anime fans have already know about this, but I guess the people from AD Vision had said that the February issue, 2008 issue of the Newtype USA magazine will be the last one. And really not saying too much about why they're getting rid of it, other than that there's going to be a new magazine that they're going to be bringing out sometime this year. And this was actually kind of interesting that sales per month are about 50,000 to 75,000 copies per month. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought maybe it would be a little bit more than that. But
is that a lot or a little for a magazine? I mean, for a magazine.
Nah.
Well, for an anime, it depends on
the
niche of anime magazine that costs $12.
Yeah. And
I do have a theory about the doom of Newtype, and that's two things. One of the more frequent advertisers in Newtype was Genion.
Right.
That's right.
Which, of course, is, gone to pasture. And then number two, ADV licensed, the Newtype name and content from Kadokawa Shoten. So it could be that less advertising revenue plus those licensing costs might have been cutting into the bottom line for ADV too much, and prompted them to say, hey, screw this, we'll just start our own magazine and do everything in-house, and we don't have to pay for the Newtype name, which really doesn't mean much in America anyway.
That's true.
Or all this other Japanese content which people find on the internet anyway. So given the fact that they're extending people's subscriptions from Newtype, right, rolling it right into this new magazine, and that they're assuring advertisers that a new magazine is coming, I think it's basically just a name change and more in-house American writing to cut costs and boost profits. And if that's the deal, then it's probably a good move on ADV's part.
Definitely.
When I was collecting the magazine, it would seem like a big advertisement of what new shows are out in Japan and what new shows I could find to to preview.
That are not here and that you can't buy here and
exactly
make any money for anime companies here.
Exactly.
So
but the first issue came out in November of 2002, and
I still have that. It had the Strike Gundam on it
yeah.
too.
And as of right now, there's been 65 issues, and the 66 if the final issue is the March issue. So it lasts about 5 years. So R.I.P. Newtype USA. And this is a nice segue that we're going to be talking about the Gundam Seed franchise later on in the show. But anybody that's bought Volume 12 of Gundam Seed Destiny, you might want to contact and go to the Bandai-entertainment.com website, because you've probably already noticed that there is a production flaw on that, and I guess it's not playing. And in addition to Gundam Seed Destiny Volume 12, it actually hit the Eureka 7, Volume 11, Flag number 2.
Flag. Yeah.
And Mayatome Volume 4.
Just
so
pick the flag too.
yeah, so basically just go to www.bandai-ent.com, and they'll have all the
Exchange
information of how to, if you've bought any of these DVDs, how to exchange them. And what's just funny, because I bought, the second Ghost in the Shell movie a couple of years ago, and they had the same issue. There was something with the subtitles, and all you had to do was just go.
They were closed captions.
Yeah, that's right. They were
right.
closed captions. And they just sent you a new disc. So it was pretty easy. But now going to a lot of 00 or 00 news.
Oh, awesome.
There's been some scans that have come up for the 00 Blu-ray disc that's going to be released this summer. And
Oh,
yeah.
God, I wish that. Oh,
Yeah, so
I wish that was available here.
Yeah.
hopefully they
And,
come
well,
here
I'm,
when they
I'm
release
sure
the
it
show.
will.
Well, here's a note for fans who like to import. With Blu-ray, this time America and Japan are actually the same region.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Because there's only 3 Blu-ray regions as opposed to the 7 regions of DVD.
awesome.
So, you can import 00 and stick it into your PS3 or whatever here and enjoy it in wonderful HD glory. The only problem is, of course, it's going to be raw with no subtitles. So
Anime
Yes.
companies must be livid about that.
I would just
Well,
I would
I-
love to have 00 in Blu-ray. It's just such a good-looking show. So
Oh, it is.
keeping those fingers crossed that now that the Blu-ray war, the format war seems to be in favor of Blu-ray, that once 00 inevitably comes here, that it will also be released on Blu-ray. So keep those fingers crossed.
Exactly.
And if
I'm
you go
with
to Bandai Visuals site, they actually have the cover of DVD number 2, which actually features our man Lock-On.
Hey,
So,
hey.
and they're
Not our man Saji.
Not a man.
No,
Oh man, that's
no,
coming. That's
no.
gonna be the greatest cover ever.
what's he
What's
gonna
it
be?
gonna be? What's gonna
in
be
the
in the
pizza
background?
uniform?
A pizza uniform with Louise's mom like filling him up or something,
With him in the apron.
and Louise standing in the corner like with her arms crossed, like "Rrr," all pissed off.
Yeah.
With
And
a
sitting on the couch saying to him, "What am I doing here? Please kill me now."
Yeah,
Yes.
with Louise's cheeks so pouty.
Yep. Anyway,
But if you go to there's a story on GameSpot Japan, and of course it's in Japanese, but it's dealing with the new 00 DS game.
Awesome.
But there's a lot of cool screenshots. Took a look at those, and anybody that's interested in that game, and just like Chris said with the Blu-ray, I know the DS games you can play into the American DSs. So
yes.
Hmm?
Yeah, so I'm sure at some point somebody will do translation guides, maybe on GameFAQs or something. So
Yeah.
you can import the game and use a translation FAQ and just try to work through it.
And on the actual official site for the Gundam 00 DS,
Yeah.
they have a promotional video that I actually watched today. Game looks great. I'm really impressed on how a lot of these games for the DS are starting to look.
Yeah.
In addition to the Gundam 00.
Second
but,
generation of the DS is looking really impressive, starting
Yeah.
with that Zelda
Re-
game that came out. But yeah, this that game, I have to see the screenshots. I can't wait to see how good it's going to look.
And we hadn't had these in a while, but episode 13 for Gundam 00 got a 5.0%. So it still seems like it's hanging around that 4.5%. So I guess that's good, meaning that it won't get canceled
Yeah,
anytime soon.
For its time slot, hopefully that's good enough. I don't think it's going to get One Piece ratings, or like 13.9 and whatnot. But
It's been on the air since 1999. So
exactly.
And the manga is also one of the top manga series in Japan, so it's really
It's
no
hard to beat.
comparison. But speaking of ratings, I think you have another story about Gundam profits.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
how you read my mind on this. I felt the tingle.
That's what I
I
do.
felt the tingle.
You heard the new type.
Yeah, I was like, ding. But on the Nikkei net, They reported that the financial results for the Sotsu agency from September to November of 2007, and that was basically their quarter, showed a profit of 663 million yen, up 51% from the same time period the year before. One of the factors that was stated for the increase was the start of the Gundam 00 on TV and a lot of advance orders at different events promoting a lot of the character merchandise.
Wow.
So
There you go.
and on a side note on that, I was in one of our local hobby shops today, and I got to see some of the 00 models. And there is a 160 of the Exia.
Yeah,
and
I
that
saw
thing is
that.
beautiful.
I went to the same store and
They have a 1/100 of both the Exia and the Dynamis,
Yeah.
and the models keep looking better and better each time.
Can't wait for the master grades, man.
Oh, that's sweet. Down here, I've only seen it in one shop. They had the HCM Pros of Exia and Dynamis.
Really?
But that's it.
So
But they look pretty good too.
Yeah.
Exactly. So when I went to that hobby shop, they actually one of the guys behind the counter told me there's a master grade of the 005 coming, and it's gonna be the Natalie, and the keep forgetting what the 005 is called.
Virtue.
It's
Well, it's not going to be
Virtue.
a master
Virtue.
grade. They're probably referring to the 1/100.
100.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
master
it's
grade.
supposed to be-
It's just a 1/100.
It's supposed to be exactly. It's supposed to be both suits though.
Yes.
You'll have the Natalie underneath it and
The Virtue.
the Virtue on the top, and I'm sure a lot of diehard model builders are going to buy both, or buy two separate
You
two
can pose them separately.
exactly, and just do two different models. But
That's what Bandai wants you to do. It's their reverse psychology.
Definitely check those out. And one last little Gundam related news story here.
get your wallets out.
Yep. On Famitsu, they had the 100 best-selling video games of 2007, and this is in Japan, of course, and the Asian markets. And there were 6 Gundam titles in the top 100. And number 45 was the SD Gundam G Generation Spirits, 340,000 plus copies. Gundam Musou was number 50.
AKA Dynasty Warriors Gundam.
Was number 50 with about 300 plus sold. At 62 is Super Robot Wars W. 64 SD Gundam Generation Cross Drive. 71, I know we talked about this one, Another Centuries Episode 3, the final. And the last one was the Gundam Battle Chronicle. So
Yep, which we've also talked about.
Yep. So definitely we're doing pretty well, and I didn't have a chance to take a look at all the games on there, but I'm sure the top 10 are probably kind of identical to what we had here, and some of the ones are, I'm sure, some other Japanese only.
I don't know. There's probably some weird things like horse racing or pachinko that's number 1 over there.
Yeah, probably
Probably so.
pachinko. But
Mahjong.
and with that, that's the news for
Well, there's
this episode.
one last bit of news I just want to lightly touch upon.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. I'm
s-
sorry.
s-
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a science website calculates the price of building a Gundam.
Yeah, I forgot about this one.
Oh
I don't
my
know if I was
goodness.
How could we
subconscious.
forget, given that it's been mentioned on every mech-related forum
Exactly.
Yeah.
in like 1,000
On
different
On Science, there's a Science Portal article that just kind of guesstimated how much it would cost to build a real Gundam. Their estimate, barring labor costs, special alloys, and any kind of flight capabilities, is anyone?
$725 million.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
And for reference, to give you like an idea on how that equates to the kind of crap that we have now, I believe that the cost of the F-22 Raptor, which is, our latest generation fighter interceptor, is about $200 million per unit.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Well,
Per plane. So
and I think the most expensive one we had was the stealth bomber,
Which is
Which is like-
$2.2 billion.
yeah, the F-117.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are much more
Conventional.
in much less numbers. But so if it's $200 million for the Raptor, just imagine, building a whole bunch of mobile suits. And this, mind you, as the article points out, this is a mobile suit on the cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like not really doing anything, fancy like a Gundam. So maybe we're talking here something like more on the lines of a scope dog.
God
No,
forbid my
beam
tax
saver, just a heat hawk.
Wow.
Barely moves.
Probably not even a heat hawk.
Yeah, I was about to say, God forbid my tax dollars go to that.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, better that than a bridge to nowhere
yeah.
That's true.
that costs $200 million.
So, now the news is over with.
Oh well.
All right.
And hey, listeners, you have to forgive us for the extra long episode of Gundam, but I'm sure you'll still enjoy it. We really go off a tangent on a lot of the topics we talk about tonight, but we'll definitely get into the first one, which will be the Gundam Seed and How to Fix It in just a few moments. You're listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
Come on! Oh, God! Getting the fever.
Gun.
Damn ridiculous!
Welcome back to Gundam. This is one of your hosts, Neo. I'm joined here along with Chris and Soulbro, and we're going to be going kind of a topic that's a little interesting to us, as we're kind of being a little critical about things, and we like to have some critical analysis, good and bad. But we're going to kind of have a topic tonight that's entitled Gundam Seed, one of the more popular Gundams shows out there, but we're going to have a little subtext of how to fix it, in our opinion.
It needs fixing?
Yeah. Not saying it was completely broken, but we're just going to kind of see some of the things that we would like done to maybe, or what we would like to had done, so it didn't kind of trail off like it did. So
Take it to the backyard and put it out of its pain behind the shed.
I guess maybe the first thing we should do is just kind of say on maybe a 1 to 5 scale what we kind of rated it, in terms of that, and then we kind of go from there. Some thoughts of how to fix this. I enjoyed the first show. I guess when we're going to be talking about this, we're talking about all 3 shows, right?
Yeah.
Destiny, Stargazer, and the first Gundam Seed. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think overall, I give it about 3.75. I think if it was just the original show and Stargazer, I'd probably be a little higher. But for whatever reason, Destiny really killed it. So,
Ouch.
Soul Bro, what would be?
The original Seed, I'd probably give it. I'd like that and Destiny about the same, so I'd probably give it a 3.
Okay. And
I had a lot of misgivings about the show, but at the same time, it wasn't terrible. It's not Gundam Wing level, so in my level,
Ooh,
I like Gundam Wing, but looking back on it, I enjoyed Seed more, so I'd have to give it a little bit more.
Chris?
Well, just to be lazy, I'm going to look at my review average page here on the site. Seed, overall, I gave a 3.46.
Okay.
Special edition got a 3.33.
Yeah, I forgot about this.
Jumping down, Destiny got a 3.31, and Stargazer a 3.33.
Okay.
Really? Wow. Yeah, there's
Short.
less episodes of Stargazer, so yeah, I guess.
Yeah, since it's so much shorter,
Yeah.
a bad rating really
I'd have to say, out of the 3, I enjoyed
rating
Stargazer the
overall.
most.
It's only 3 episodes.
Just the fact that it had a harder
So-
edge to it than in any of the other 2 shows. Save for Break the World and Destiny, which is the best part of that show. But anyway.
I guess we should start chronologically and focus on the original Seed and then hit up Destiny and then Stargazer. So
That would be perfect.
who wants to go first with their thoughts about Seed?
Well, I enjoyed the show. I was watching it as it was coming out. I know it was a reimagining of what the original show was. There's a lot of differences there. I like some of the things that they did do. I like the fact that they actually had the pilot get the girl for once.
Yeah, that was a huge thing too.
Then you find out that you have an antagonist that was just purely evil.
Yeah.
There was nothing there was nothing that was too hidden on Rala Crusade. He was just an evil man
Just
for being
twisted
evil. He
man.
wasn't justified in anything. I enjoyed the first show. I thought it was good. There was certain parts of it that dragged. Especially the whole thing when Kira lost the strike and somehow he ends up in the plants.
Thanks to a stray.
Magically transports.
Well, if you read one of the
One of the
manga,
mangas.
Yeah. You read a manga, you find out how he is, how he gets up there.
I can already tell you about 90% of the American populace had no idea how he got there.
Yeah, I mean, until I read those mangas, I didn't know either. But
by the way, speaking of Astray, that's the best representation of Seed. Period.
But
that's my opinion anyway.
The battles were pretty good. It was very bloody. Towards the end, they didn't really care about killing off people. Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of interesting. I mean, the final battle between Kira and Rallo Crusade was a good battle. I think it's up there and one of the better of the Gundam fights, in my opinion. But they just kind of left a lot of loose ends, and I can understand where a lot of people would just get a little bored with it, especially some of the kind of the childish love triangle stuff was kind of silly. So that's mine on the first Seed. Soulbro, thoughts?
Seed, I have a love-hate relationship with that show, but for the most part, I'm not too hard on it because it was supposed to be a reinvention of Gundam. It took me a long time to watch the show. I mean, Neo really had to convince me to really watch it, and when one of my roommates actually bought the whole DVD set, I started to sit down and watch it with him, and it. After a while, I got into the groove of it, and there's that one point in the show where things actually start to escalate, and it becomes an enjoyable watch. And I started enjoying watching the show, and although still I just had a lot of misgivings. I even though it's superficial to say, I wasn't too big on the art style. I don't know what it is about the kind of the doughy-eyed anime look, but I kind of like the look of the older series. Even Turn A Gundam had a kind of a throwback look to I'm a big Akimen junkie, so I guess that's why I like Turn A Gundam's art style. But it took me a long time to get into Seed. And
what, you mean you don't like 1,000 characters who look identical except for their hairstyle?
Exactly.
That was a big...
What don't you like about that? That's amazing.
There was really no main significance. It's like one of the characters that did look significant was like Sai. That was the character I liked the most in that show, and to see him get punked repeatedly.
Why am I not surprised?
Yo, no kidding. It's always the same.
Is that your man, Sai Argyle?
My man, Sai Argyle, man. I was so sad, but I was so sad when it didn't show up in Destiny. But that's another story.
And it's not your man, Kuzey Buskirk?
Oh no! I had nothing to do with Cuzzy right there.
I hated that guy.
Kuzey Buskirk. When he left the ship, it was a blessing to everybody on board.
Oh my god!
I just wish he died on his way out.
Oh wow! Well,
I wish he would have too.
Like he's just running through orb and the battle's happening, and like a mobile suit just like falls on him, kind of like Unit.
Gets goofed.
Exactly. So, any other thoughts, Adam, on the original Seed?
At the moment, not much to say on it. I will say the greatest scene to me, of course, is what was the scene where everybody was getting microwaved? That was at
Alaska.
Alaska.
Oh my God, that was like the roughest.
The Cyclops system.
Yeah, exactly. That was the roughest stuff to watch right there. But it moved the show up to a level that I didn't expect. And of course, when Kira got some. That was like the biggest thing to me. It's like, wow, I've never seen a Gundam character in the show get a taste. That was beautiful, and even more so in the movie when they accentuated the scene even more. But those are my thoughts on Seed.
Personally, and to clear up any misconceptions, no, I do not hate the Cosmic Era, despite what people may think from my reviews over the many years. I actually enjoy, the original Seed, and the most I enjoy Astray, but. The thing about Seed overall, the original, I think it's an okay show, but it doesn't bring anything new to the table that hadn't already been done in all of the shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was true.
And it was obvious from the get-go. I mean, when the show started, and you have, the Earth and space are at war, but the colonies had mobile suits first, and Earth had crappy fighters, and, civilian gets involved because there's a Gundam on a neutral colony, and the colony gets attacked, and the ship is manned with civilians, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, so use that as a starting point. But then it got like, it's like, oh, we got to escape to the Allied fortress, and they arrest us for having the secret stuff, and then the enemies attack, and now we're going to go to Earth, but then we get knocked off course, and now we're in enemy territory. Oh. Jesus Christ. And then it goes on.
Deja vu.
Gundam pilot meets nice guy in the desert who he's forced to fight and kill.
Yeah.
So we were led to believe for 20 episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was the show about 30 episodes for it to really get going, because one of the things I really hated the most was that they got into this really annoying pattern of an action episode, then a teeny drama character development episode, quote unquote, then an action episode, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I actually think.
And it just really killed the pacing.
Yeah, what is it? When he lost the strike, there was about.
That was episode 30.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was about 2 episodes that seemed like nothing was going on. They were just kind of walking around, and like you said, there was no real action there. But yeah, I agree with you on that.
For me, the series really takes off, during the Battle of Alaska, and it starts going its own direction. But then because they wasted so much time, especially also with the clip episodes and the flashbacks, that's why
please.
The other Neo era from Ganoda, he nicknamed Mitsuo Fukuda as Flashback Amal Fukuda.
Yeah, I remember seeing that
clever
on there.
stuff.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with that. I mean, you don't need to keep flashing back 5 times the things that happened in the previous episodes. I mean, how many times have each of us seen Nicole get killed?
Oh yeah.
Or
I mean,
Kagali's father get blown up.
The first 5 times it was cool to see Nicole get killed, but then after about the 12th time, you're like, okay, we get it. He blew up.
It's like, yes, it's bad. It's sad that that he got killed that way, but I don't need to see it like 5 times in the next episode. So there was so much time wasted that I think that by the end of the show, they had too much to wrap up in too short a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't think Raul Lacruzet really ever got much proper development as a villain. It's sort of like he just appeared out of nowhere as, by the way, I'm the main bad guy.
Yeah.
And I thought his motives really were just sort of a cheap, shallow ripoff of the Frost Brothers.
Yeah, you know what?
You raised
a good point there. A really good point. Now that you bring that up,
it's like the world rejects me, so I'll destroy the world because I'm crazy and I have a Gundam.
And a Gundam out of the blue too. You never saw hide nor hair of that Gundam until like the last 2 eps.
Yeah.
And the Providence shows up. It's like, what the heck is that?
But I think the Frost Brothers, even though they weren't the best villains around, throughout all of X, you saw that they were doing secret things. They had an agenda they were following from the very first time they appeared till the very end.
And
Raul Lacruzet is sort of just this mysterious guy who's there for the ride, and then suddenly in the last 5 episodes, it's like, oh, I know all about Kira Yamato's past, and I'm going to destroy the world, and
it's like you didn't even think he was that involved.
So,
let alone.
Yeah, it's like he wasn't even that important. So
I mean, the only thing you knew is that
I just thought that was a little out of nowhere.
Yeah, the only thing you knew is that he and Mu had a connection. But to know that Kira of all people was involved, when Kira seemed to be someone who was ripped out of random to end up piloting the strike and be involved in this whole mess in the first place, which is another one of Neo's pet peeves, as previously discussed.
What's that?
Where the keys left in the ignition.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, and then my biggest thing is the concept of seed itself, the superior evolutionary element destined factor thing, which they only barely bring up.
Yeah.
Is hardly ever explained.
Yeah.
And even in Destiny.
They actually talk about it more in the Astray manga
than
they do in the show.
And that probably is due to the fact that I read in an interview, Fukuda said that first, when he was developing the show, he called it Gundam Sin.
Oh.
But he was told that wouldn't fly in America. So he came up with the name Gundam Seed.
Okay.
Just because I guess it sounded cool.
Right.
And he didn't come up with what seed stood for until later on.
Oh.
What an afterthought.
Yeah, really. And he loves those acronyms, but
well,
that's the thing. That's one of the biggest things. It's like this.
Yeah, they do love those acronyms.
Seed power that Kira and a couple of other people have just appears out of nowhere. It's explained. It's really not much more than a plot gimmick.
Yeah.
Even new type powers are a bit of a plot gimmick, but they get a lot more explanation.
Yeah.
The seed is just like it just happens.
Yeah, and there was just a very few people that had it too. That was what was.
Why is it that there's only 5 people who have it, and all 5 of them are super major characters?
and why does Kigali have it of all people? Apparently she's
a sister.
Well, she's his sister, but she's not a coordinator. She's a natural, right?
Well,
I guess that would be the one thing that throws that theory off is the fact that coordinators are the only people who can get the seed power. I guess one natural in general. I mean, she was born naturally. But I guess that doesn't make her a natural. I guess her genetics were messed with too. But
according to the definition of the seed, though, it's just a visual representation of someone going beyond their limits, and that's irrespective of whether they're a natural or a coordinator.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Well, I guess. Since we did the first show, we should probably go into Destiny.
Destiny.
Really quick, I'm just going on that.
Not much to talk about.
Yeah, I I enjoyed the show. I was pleasantly excited when they said they were doing another show.
The opening was stunning too.
Yeah, I mean it was a good show. It was good up until Break the World, and up until about Berlin.
Yeah, Berlin.
And then after that, I just don't know what they did. I mean, once again, the whole situation with all the flashback episodes.
Yeah, did we get like 2 after Berlin?
Just introducing characters and then making characters more important than what they were, and it's like
and killing off Heine, the coolest character to show up in that show.
Yeah,
Heine.
I mean, I just it didn't, and then bringing back the old cast, which I thought was fine, but then just making them the whole focus of everything,
and then the explanation of Moo's return.
Yeah, which was ridiculous.
And it's like it'd have been better if he was a clone, not to bring back the original. It's like, wow,
he's a clone.
How is that possible? Yeah,
it would have made a little bit more. It would have made a little bit more sense than oh well, I survived the blast.
I was like,
okay.
Your helmet was floating in space. How did you survive vacuum? Although they retconned the helmet.
They deleted the helmet in the special edition.
Yeah. They retconned the helmet. Yeah, that's true.
Which still begs the question: the Strike Gundam exploded from a battleship cannon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a chance he's going to get a rip or two in the old normal suit, I think. So, but
a rip.
So thoughts, Soulbro?
I'll try to sum it up in 10, maybe 15 seconds. Destiny, it started off cool. It ended really on an abrupt note, and not even Final Plus saved it, except for maybe that final scene where it leads into something. And of course, Kigali got ultimately punked in that show, which I absolutely hated. Although the girl that's Atherin ended up with was cool. Outside of all those events that transpired, I don't hate Shin. I'll be one of the few people on the planet that doesn't hate Shin at all. I think he was the character that he was meant to be. I was glad he didn't have an epiphany, because that'd have been really predictable, and he stuck to his guns, although he failed. But he ultimately, he had a turn of heart, but it was after everything was said and done. But throughout, I liked his character, his convictions. He stayed to him, although he was hypocritical in a lot of scenes. He still stuck to his guns, and I like him for that. But not as much as other characters. But he was. I have no beef with him.
Chris?
I'm one of the other few Shin. That being said, I don't love the guy, but the show was just a complete
I agree.
train wreck.
I'm with you.
It got off to a great start for those first 13 episodes, but then it started going downhill right during the wedding episode, where they wasted the whole episode on something that could have taken 5 minutes, and I said to myself in the back of my head, it's too good to be true. Here it goes. And lo and behold, by the end of the series, my worst fear was confirmed.
Oh, yeah.
The show went vastly off track. The new cast, which I thought was really interesting, got completely sidelined in favor of the old cast. I didn't mind the old cast returning. I mean, you look at Zeta, it worked out perfectly there, where you have a melding of old and new characters, but you never had Amuro stealing the spotlight from Camille. There was never any doubt in Zeta that it was Camille's show.
No.
But almost from the beginning, at Shin competing for screen time with Atherin and with Kira.
Not at all.
Now, I didn't
Not
mind it so much because they were kind of developing Atherin as like a mentor for Shin, and they sort of had this begrudging sort of respect that was developing, but then they tossed that all out the window and then just made Shin this angry guy who never developed. They just decided to stop developing him completely. But then by the same token, Atherin, they just recycled his development from Seed and made him all wishy-washy again.
Yep.
Jesus.
Even more so.
And then Kira didn't change at all. He was just a robot.
Yep.
His character doesn't develop at all during that show.
He doesn't. He's Iceman the entire show.
Yeah. And then by the end of the show, it's like, what am I watching here? It's just a total train wreck, and really had a potential. If you asked me during the first 13 episodes, is Destiny better than Seed, I would say, it's so much better.
Yeah.
But then so many clip shows, so much recycled animation from Seed and from other parts of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I think that really stands out about Destiny is the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a fantastic soundtrack, especially the symphonic version.
Yes, it does.
But so did Seed.
Yeah.
Also had a very good soundtrack. But otherwise, the show's almost a complete train wreck, and like Solbro said, not even Final Plus can save it, and not even the special edition can save it.
Yeah, I wanted to see if you were going to bring that up too.
That said, let's hop over to the Stargazer. What do you guys think about that?
I enjoyed Stargazer. The only problem that I had with it was too short. I thought going to the route of the Phantom Pain pilots was good. The whole thing was, I didn't really dislike any of the characters.
They in that first episode, they really expanded upon that 9/11 kind of mania that was about. They kind of brought that back for that first episode with all the chaos that was going on because of Break the World, and I really like that show for that because it's just you become self-involved when watching that short first episode because of that just what the state of the world that the world was in after Break the World took place. And that just it kicked off Stargazer for me. It kind of ended on a softer note, but I don't know. I still like it better than the other two series.
Well, the only issue I had with it too was just the whole just kind of throwing the Stargazer in there, and it just kind of jumped around. But I know they were dealing with a limited number of episodes, so I can kind of forgive them on that. I think it's a good representation. I thought, I would like to seen it a little bit longer, but I guess we'll have to wait or see or whatever. But Chris, what's your thoughts on Stargazer?
It was pretty good, given that it was only 45 minutes. I really think it should have been 6 full OAV episodes.
I agree.
It had a great start. Coming back to Break the World, which in Destiny, as soon as it happened, it was forgotten.
Yeah,
it was.
You didn't really see and what I thought was really creepy was you really sort of got the vibe of like the Asian tsunami and Hurricane Katrina sort of combined with the way they depicted things, and that just was really, really effective. What I hated was that at the end it jumped to the Earth Alliance again being depicted as a bunch of evil, incompetent psychopaths.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you had Sven. He was all right, but Shams was just a freaking gun-toting moron shooting stuff, and everybody else, they were all just maniacs. So it really just furthered that unrealistic image of the Earth Alliance just being totally evil in every form and shape.
That's true.
There's
right. Yeah, there was no redeeming person in any of the alliance, any of the officers. There was none that, like stood up against any of that, like like General Revel did in the first show or anything like that.
They're as bad as the Titans, practically. I mean, just they're on that kind of
Nobody
level.
questioned it, but and then I guess
that said, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I still enjoyed it more than Destiny because it was done. The execution was better.
Oh yes.
Even though the story was lacking because of the very short length, but the execution was better.
The special editions, the movies, I guess quickly, the First Seed, the special editions on that, didn't like it because I just felt like all the changes and all the additions that they made were just it's just fan service, and it was just catering to fans. So
and then my man Toll's death was even more excruciating in those.
Well, I mean, it looked but other than that, I mean, especially the last movie was just I didn't feel it at all. So the Destiny special editions, I kind of was intrigued by the way that they were doing it in the point of Atherin, but once again, it was just it was a lot more painful to watch than the show itself. So
So I thought the Seed special editions were they were so poorly edited that if you hadn't seen the TV show, you wouldn't understand the story.
Even if you saw the TV show, it was difficult to understand what the heck was going on.
Yeah, I think Destiny did it better because they had 4 rather than 3 special editions. But the problem with Destiny is still, you can spray perfume on a piece of garbage, but it's still a pile of garbage.
Yeah. But Soulbro, I don't know if
I never really even saw either, so I can't really comment.
Cool.
But I'll take you guys' word for it. That's for sure.
And I guess now quickly, just we'll talk about maybe some ways of kind of fixing the franchise. I don't think it's a complete lost cause. I think they introduced a lot of good ideas. There's a lot of good characters in the shows. Mm-hmm. I think probably the best thing for them to really do is have somebody else come in and, new director, new writing staff, and just kind of build on and maybe answer some of the questions.
Because the show has a strong following in Japan, so I mean, if there's
and here,
and here, so if there's an announcement for another Seed series, people are going to watch. This time, take it, make it great. Take a note from 00. I mean, your audience is going to grow older waiting for this show. So, make it appeal to a slightly older audience. And since they develop Athrun so much, I think Athrun should be the antagonist in this series. I'll be honest with you, but I mean that's a whole other subject. But I mean,
Athrun's counterattack.
Yeah, exactly. Since they've been biting off of UC all along, if they wanted to really develop Kira and Athrun and get them to the point where they need to be, where they're at each other's throats, and then they finally come to some kind of resolution, I think they can really take advantage of that for the show and make it play out to also involve Kigali again. But that I'm getting into fanfic material, and I'll regress for now. But I think that's where they should go. I honestly do. Athrun is an amazing character, and I think they can do so much with him if they develop him right.
Yeah, I mean you're right there, and I think just having another creative team go in and do it, maybe do their take or maybe expound on it. It's not an insult to the director or the writers of the first show, but I mean they had a good idea. They had some good ideas. They just couldn't complete it correctly. Yeah. But I agree. Chris, what would be some things that you would some ways that you'd like to see them fix
Number
this?
one, get a new team, because as Stargazer showed,
yes,
having a completely different staff really helps in every sense of the word. Number two,
yes.
Put some distance between the series, because
you
had these two series with this whole set of characters that are set so close to each other, and in the end they ended up just being pretty much the exact same story of Genocide Alliance versus Genocidal Zaft.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think they should just space this out, start fresh, like set it 20 or 30 years in the future if they ever do a series. Have a totally new cast of characters.
Wow.
And just
I was gonna say
turn a new page and just completely walk away from Kira Yamato and all these people.
True.
Yeah, and I mean they can have them in there, but as very minor characters, because I mean let's be honest, 20, 30 years from now, most likely they're not going to be in the position of being a Mobile Suit Pilot anymore. So
I was thinking more so like maybe 7 to 10 years, kind of like this gap between Mobile Suit and Zeta. That way, they could still have a role in it, but not as active because they're older and they're doing other things and they may be involved in other things, and have focus on a whole new cast. I'm all for that.
But that's what Destiny was supposed to be, and it's like Kira and the Archangel crew, they've already had enough time in the spotlight. They just need to move out of the way and let a new crew take over and have the focus be firmly on them, which is what Destiny was supposed to be, but turned out to not be. So I think putting a lot of distance would really help. Also, just find a new way to develop that universe and not have it just be Evil Earth Alliance versus Evil Zaft with a group in between that is fighting both of them. So they really need to just rethink that universe and just follow a page from Astray, which most of them tell really good stories and have really helped to develop that universe. Some have not been so good, like X Astray and some other ones, but the main Astray series, Destiny Astray, was great. Those were all great examples for how to properly do that series.
Those are good. Yeah.
Low gear. He's the man. One last thing though, one loose end they need to tie up is Al DeFlaga. I don't care what they do, but they need to explain him and what kind of effect he's had on everything.
How important,
because you realize
seems so important, and then he's got clones all over the place, and
he's had his finger in every pie, and his actions have affected a lot of characters in that show, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
So to explain him and who he was, and why he's a new type, that I like to have answered. Plain and simple.
But, well, I guess we could probably go on for hours talking about how to fix it, but those are just kind of some of the things that we think. Do we know if this is going to happen? Probably not. Or the next show or movie that they have planned will probably be more of the same, but we can always hope. So that's the end of this segment. We'll be back in a little bit. You're listening to Gundamn at MAHQ.
I was just telling you that because, like I said, I lost my license. I've just been having a lot of problems lately.
Problems? I don't want to hear about your damn problems. Everybody got problems. My mama got problems. She just lost her leg. My cousin Pookie just lost a testicle. My dog just threw up somebody's finger. That's a problem.
I really regret opening my mouth and talking to you.
Welcome back to the show that's hitting harder than the Dom's double axe handle. That's right. Gundamn at MAHQ. I'm so sorry, Miss Matilda.
It's okay. Just keep going. Just keep going.
I'm sorry, audience,
Matilda!
but we're back.
Miss Matilda!
Miss Matilda, may you rest in peace. We're bringing you a new segment, and we're talking about it's another anime spotlight, and we're going to be speaking on the OVA series Megazone 2-3, or in some circles Megazone 23. Watching the dub, I was ultra confused, but I actually just finished watching it not too long ago. Well, at least parts 1 and 2. I have not seen part 3 yet, but I have it in my custody as well. And I have to say I enjoyed it. It was kind of a throwback to the good old ultra-violent 80s, as I've so treasured in these past few years. But we're gonna discuss it. We're gonna go into it a little bit and just give our thoughts on it. And basically the overview is, and I hate to ruin the hook for you guys, but it starts out in it's a typical 80s situation. You got the free-spirited main character, dude that's a motorcyclist running from the cops. His name is Shogo, and he's pretty much, he does what he wants. He's kind of I guess you could call him kind of Peter Panish, kind of guy who's in between. He's in his adolescence. He doesn't want to grow up, but at the same time,
is this a theme? Wait, last week we had the Arthurian legend. Now it's Peter Pan.
Well, he's kind of.
Thank you. I was trying to hold back, but thank you for.
Well, no, but I'm just saying.
Next week is it things when we discuss Done By, and I don't know.
Heck yeah. I'm glad to compare those two. But no, he's an anarchist. He doesn't want to conform to the way society is, and he's always causing trouble and on the run from the cops. And then in his latest dodging of the cops, he runs into a young girl by the name of Yui, correct? I believe it's Yui. And
yes.
She's just happening to be late for I think a dance performance or rehearsal, and he gives her a ride to her dance studio, and she works at the Hard Rock Cafe or something like that, which is ironic because a lot of places in this anime they don't change the name of them. They actually just they roll with it. McDonald's, Hard Rock Cafe, Coca-Cola, all those brands are in there. Lucky Strike cigarettes. I was amazed. And I had an urge to smoke.
It's called in-show advertising.
Yeah, it was the start of in-show advertising.
Exactly.
I think Macross had it covered before that with Budweiser Missile.
Yeah,
that's right.
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh my God.
But okay, so he gets with the girl then,
he gets with the girl, and he takes her to her appointment, and somehow finagles the digits. He gets her to give up the digits, and he goes on to meet up with one of his homeboys who's involved with the top secret project, and he doesn't know anything about the top secret project yet. But when he gets to this underground garage, his friend shows off this brand new motorbike to him called the Garland, and it's bigger than your average bike and looks just all cool as all get out. But the authorities show up, some kind of secretive men in black type dudes. They're not in black, but they wear sunglasses and whatnot, and they've come to reacquire the Garland and kill the young man who stole it. And Shogo makes a getaway on the Garland with his friend following him, but his friend isn't too fortunate and ends up dying as a result. Shogo makes it out, and the conspiracy follows. And Chris, you'd probably be able to explain this better than I would, but
well, he's got this awesome bike, which he soon figures out is much more than it seems, and you got this idol singer, Eve Tokimatsuri, who, is sort of like a Lin Min Mei and kind of looks like her, being designed by Mikimoto. Mm-hmm. And, through the course of a couple of events, he finds out that Eve isn't even real. She's a virtual idol. And as he explores more and he's being chased by the military, he discovers that the world isn't real. And that it's not the 1980s in Tokyo, and that they're actually on a spaceship.
Yep.
Right.
And this spaceship was one of many that left Earth because there was this apocalyptic war, and the survivors left on these ships. So this computer, Bahamut, that is running Megazone 2-3 or 23, wants to keep people, pacified, and it fools them by recreating 20th century Earth. So everybody thinks that they're living on Earth, and even like when they think they're going on vacation, like they're really just being hypnotized into thinking they went somewhere, but it's really just this one city.
Right.
And he decides to bust it open, this conspiracy, while in the meantime, getting it on with Yui because he's an outlaw, and it comes down to a final showdown with BD. And unfortunately, the Garland gets its ass kicked, which was quite a departure for this project. And I think that's one of the things that makes it stand out is that at the end, the hero, the inexperienced pilot, loses.
Yeah.
And another thing that stands out is the characters. They're pretty different from what you normally see in a mecha show. You got Shogo, who's the sort of like rebellious type, but not really like a whiny, angsty guy. Then you got the male in question, Yui, who comes off so sweet and everything, but isn't above having sex with some sleazy producer to get a job.
Yeah. Not at all. That was very.
Which results in a great scene of this creepy producer trying to sex her up, and then Shogo, is peeping on them with the Garland, and he just freaking busts through the wall of the hotel and grabs her.
Yeah, exactly. When she said she worked in Roppongi, that was like a clue to me that she might actually, do that kind of thing. I wasn't sure, but then all of a sudden, she's going to sleep with a record producer in order to advance her career. It's like, wow, does she do this on the regular, or is this just like one thing she's just doing to advance herself? I don't know. Maybe that was part of her part of the way she made money. Who knew? But it clued me into the fact that might happen. But I was really shocked to still see it happen.
Yeah, and in essence, sort of like. The basic story, it's pretty much the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That the world you think you live in is totally fake.
Right.
Exactly.
And there's a conspiracy behind it.
Isn't this anime also part of the inspiration for the Matrix? As in, didn't the Wachowski brothers actually watch this and just
maybe
who knows?
I know it's well known that they're anime fans. I mean, you can see obvious anime inspirations in the Matrix, and the Matrix. The original Megazone and also the horrible edited Robotech the movie, those would have both been around long before the Matrix here in America, and they probably would have seen it because it was released by Streamline as uncut Megazone 23 in the early 90s.
Yep.
So they would have definitely seen it. So they might have been inspired by it. Who knows?
That's true.
It's definitely a good show. I mean, the first part's it's one of those shows I think that everybody that is a mech fan needs to see. And all the parallels, like you said, with the Matrix and just the flawed characters. That's the thing that was so great about it is just every character's flawed, and like you said, they
and the avenues that they went with some of the characters. Like one girl, the one that was filming the movie with them, I forget her name, but Tomomi.
Tomomi, yeah.
Tomomi.
Yeah.
Is she ends up getting executed like towards the end, and
brutally murdered too. On top of that,
murdered. It's like, I kind of saw that coming.
It's like, but this poor girl. It's like, oh man.
Yeah, it's like
they really done her wrong.
Yeah, and that was nothing compared to the ultra violence in the second part. But still, to see such a cute character just get wasted like that, it was amazing. There was a lot of things that shocked me in it. Even after all these years of watching anime, I was quite taken aback with some of the visuals in this, and I'm glad that when I'm watching a show that when that happens, it still shows that anime can still be fresh to me, no matter how old it is, or how downtrodden I might think a show is until they actually surprise me. So I like Megazone 23 a lot, including the second part, but I like the first part more than the second. I have to be honest.
Couple of closing notes on part one. Originally, the show was intended to be a 26-episode TV series, and the whole motorcycle thing was kind of in the style of Mospeda, but then the sponsors pulled out. So what they ended up doing is, reformatting the story into this, OAV thing, which was very new at the time. I mean, there'd only been a few OAV series in 1985, and Megazone was is considered like one of the very first profitable OAVs, and I think that probably helped the story because, I mean, there's the violence and the sex and all that, but the themes that are in this show, you couldn't have done any of that stuff on TV.
No,
couldn't
not at all.
Especially the sex.
So I think, having it in an OAV form, which was this totally new uncharted territory really allowed them to go new places and define the standard of, the 80s OAV. I mean, you look at any 80s OAV, whether it's something like Riding Bean or Bubblegum Crisis or any of these things, whether they're Mecha or not. I mean, Megazone 23 really set the tone, that golden age of 80s OAVs.
Thank goodness for it.
And the second interesting thing is, which we will not discuss here, is that the Megazone 23 Part 1 was hacked up into Robotech the movie.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that, though.
Which, if you want to hear more on that, recently Destroy All Podcasts DX, they did a whole episode about Robotech the movie, and bless them for that, because there's a reason why they called it part of the Robotech trilogy of pain.
Oh, wow.
I've actually skimmed through the Robotech movie.
I haven't seen it.
It is so bad. First of all, it's this totally made-up story where, the Robotech masters are trying to, get the SDF-1 computer back, and they change the story so that it's on Earth, and they intersplice this Southern Cross footage, which just looks horrible because it's cheap TV footage mixed in with the Megazone OAV.
Wow.
They totally hacked up Megazone and, moved scenes around, and you have, scenes from the beginning towards the end, and then they had this super funky thing where, they had this totally new crappy ending animated where Shogo's going after BD. Of course, they have different names. I don't care what their names are. But, after the Garland gets trashed, he has to go, rescue one of Yui's roommates who's being taken to, some airport to be flown away. And, one of, the crappy, space fighters from Megazone is the secret prototype. He steals it, and it transforms into a hard gun robot.
What?
And he's, going and fighting BD, who actually has been, cloned by the Robotech masters because they're trying to get the computer, and he's a secret traitor, and it's oh my god, who came up with this crap? It's they just took Megazone, sliced it to pieces, murdered it, and then peed on its grave.
Oh my god.
I mean, Robotech, even with all the changes it made, the Macross part and the Most Beta part at least were pretty close to their original stories.
Right.
Southern Cross made a lot of changes, but this show, they just totally raped it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's sad, and it's a good thing that it's out of print and that nobody ever saw it anywhere, and I wish I had that time of my life back, even though I just skimmed through it here and there. So let's move away from that piece of crap, and what do you guys think of Part 2?
Part 2, basically what, a continuation? What is the time skip on that? Because
6 months.
6 months.
Is it 6 months?
6 months, and I had to first figure out who was who because the art style was so bloody different.
Yeah.
Between the two.
Yeah, that's one of the things I didn't like, that they totally changed the art style.
Yeah, it became realistic, and man, to some levels, really, really detailed in the old violence factor. But we'll get to that. But I had to sit there and figure out. One of the most amusing things about it is in the beginning when you see the Thundercats pinball machine and the Silverhawks pinball machine. I lost it, but
yeah.
But yeah,
that's because all three shows were animated by the same studio, so
yeah.
It's just sort of an in-joke.
Yeah, I guess it was an in-joke, and to put that in there. I did find it funny, throwing back to the first episode, the first movie, that Shogo worked at McDonald's. And proud, too.
Well, I mean, that's a good start. You
Mickey
see
D's,
those commercials.
Man. It was oh yeah, exactly, Calvin. He was pulling the Calvin.
But but the second part's good. Definitely because the first part you're left wondering what's going to happen to these people because it's kind of an open-ended ending, I would say, in a lot of ways. The art style was a little crazier. You see that they get Shogo's actually a little bit more militant now. Yeah. Since I guess he knows what's going on and the true intent of everything. So you get introduced to a whole cast of very literally colorful characters.
Some of them look like Gem and the Holograms too. That was interesting. And the first half of that movie was a beer commercial. Yeah, I never thirsted for Heineken so much in my life.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it was good. You get to go more into kind of the conspiracy of what's going on. I guess what is it? The Megazone is actually on track now to go to Earth. And the Eve program is just there. It controls everything up until it reaches Earth, and then it's, overtaken by Adam, which I guess is judge, jury, and executioner when it comes to, seeing if that Megazone is worthy of being landed on Earth.
He certainly is.
But so that was kind of interesting. The violence factor. Oh my gosh.
Oh, the captain.
Oh God, that captain with the freaking the freaking robot tentacles, and it's just like going through his eyeballs and his fingers, and oh man, that was just
his digits and his limbs were just rendered asunder.
Yeah,
just watching. Oh, I mean, if you get to watch this, and you can find that DVD probably at your local video store, Best Buy, Circuit City, whatever. But it's all in the pack now. But you watch that second episode of Megazone, and you see that scene where the ship is getting taken over by these robotic tentacles, and it is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
it's worse than Fist of the North Star in some levels. I couldn't believe it. And somehow I was thrilled to watch
Fist was entertaining when it came to exploding heads.
In between that and watching Cloverfield this weekend, I don't know what to say.
But yeah, definitely kind of interesting. I guess you get to see, you know, I don't want to give too much away at the ending there, but you know, I guess they get to the point where they got to get to Eve. They meet Eve, do what you know, Shogo and Yui, they do what they need to do, and somehow they're kind of chosen worthy to, just them though, to land on Earth. But then the BS flag comes up with all the people that were gunned down in the gunned down in the streets, or hey, what's up, guys?
Yeah, it's like we're not dead actually.
Yeah,
all these like biker punks, all these nasty biker punks that are there.
Even though you saw us gunned down by tanks and about a regiment of soldiers, we're cool, yeah, and we made it to the escape pod. But
we're all alive.
Some of them blown up.
Personally, I did not like part 2 anywhere near as much.
No. No.
It really didn't take the story anywhere. One of the things in part 1 and 2 is that they're fighting these people called the Dazalg.
Yeah.
That are from another Megazone, but has much more advanced technology. But we never get any insight as to who they are.
We never even get
really
to see
why
them.
They're fighting.
Yeah.
We never even see them. They're practically aliens, even though you know that they're humans, just on a different ship.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's just totally thrown out the window. The mech action, there's hardly any of it here. I mean, Shogo goes and steals back the repaired Garland. He barely uses it. Then that other guy, Trash, I think his name, uses it. And then it just gets wrecked. So there's like hardly any mecha action going on. And it just really doesn't expound upon any of the things. Like, I guess they've made clear that they're living in a fake world, but you never see the reaction of the population. Like, wouldn't you think this entire city would be an anarchy?
Were they ever told?
I think they were.
That the population...
I think they were.
Yeah, they were told. That's why they were doing the recruiting drive.
Yeah.
Oh, very true.
Yeah, they were recruiting because they said, you know, we have enemies that we have to fight. Yeah, that was true too. Yeah, because I mean, you think of that. If you found out your whole existence was fake, you think there'd be blood in the streets. But everybody was cool in there.
The guy's name was
Lightning.
Lightning was the leader of Trash. Trash was the motorcycle gang. Yeah. Then you got this other thing of like Shogo is just hanging out with these like super weird bikers who are just like the epitome of 80s bikers.
Yeah.
And his relationship with Yui also doesn't really... It just seems very different from in the first movie.
It kind of goes backwards, I think.
And
because Yui's very independent in the first one.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, she could go on without him if she wanted to, at least in the beginning half of it, you know, before she becomes attached. But in this one, you know, she's just like, she's wounded. She's, you know, just kind of got the sadness behind her, and she just doesn't seem the same at all. She looks different and seems different at the same time, which kind of threw me off. I mean, granted, she was Yui, but she didn't seem like the same person to me in the second one at all.
There's also so few returning characters from part 1. Like, for example, that other roommate of
Mai.
Yeah,
Mai. She vanishes.
You know, her dad is still in part 2, but she's not.
Yeah.
Shogo's friends, like that old pops who runs that motorcycle shop. He doesn't. They don't show him.
Exactly.
Shogo's 2 friends who, you know, get patriotic and decide to sign up for the military. You don't see them ever again.
Oh, they're dead.
And well, they're dead. Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
They got tentacled or something. But
no doubt.
But it's like it seems so different, and it drops so many in part 1, and you know, doesn't really follow up on any of the themes, and it just it just kind of is there. It's okay. I mean, I gave it a 3 out of 5 in my review, but
That's
you know,
fair.
part 1 was so great, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, part 2 just doesn't follow up. Maybe it's also doing because part 1 was directed by Noboru Ishiguro, who also directed the original Macross. He also directed the fantastic Legend of the Galactic Heroes,
Wow.
a whole bunch of other stuff. So, and as well as Orgus.
Yeah.
Orgus, and
So-
that's another show we have to review sometime in the future. I've been wanting to watch that for a while.
Oh, definitely. So, you know, he has that. He has a real affinity for, you know, these mecha projects. So that might be also another difference, since you know, it's a different director in part 2. But yeah, it continues and ends it for that part.
Yep.
But I think it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
true.
You're really left wanting more in that one.
What about part 3 though? I haven't watched part 3, and I'm not sure if Neil has. But
I have.
What's a brief overview of part 3, and just what were your impressions on it?
Yeah.
Well, overview. What is it? It's a different Megazone.
Well, it's on Earth.
Yeah, it's like way in the
Yeah.
future.
This one's set on Earth.
Yeah, it's on Earth. What is it? Shoko is actually like a legend now, isn't he?
Yeah, it's because it's been like 500 years since part 2.
Yeah.
Basically, what you got is that 500 years have passed since part 2, and everybody lives in this city
Right.
that's very tightly controlled by this computer system.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
there's this company called EX Corp
Hmm.
that manages the system.
Yeah, with the X.
So the story's about this guy named Eiji Takanaka, and he's sort of this hacker guy, and he ends up getting a job with EX, even though he's a hacker. So maybe he's sort of like a oh shoot, what's this guy's name? Big hacker turned security consultant.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about too. I'm just trying to remember
Oh
his name.
God, what is that guy's
Oh
name?
God, what is his name? He's been on like screensavers and all
Mhm.
these tech shows. Oh, what is that guy's name? I don't remember it like 5 hours after we record this.
Of course.
Yeah. But
But you know,
That dude.
yeah, that guy. So, you know, but now he's working for the
Mhm.
man, and there's all these weird things going on, and what he discovers is this video game called, and I kid you guys not, it's called Hard On.
yep, hard on.
In all caps.
And they talk about it like crazy.
Yeah.
I need to be the best at hard on.
Yeah, like I am the best at Hard On.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway,
Mhm.
Hard On is actually sort of a training program for the mass production Garlands.
Yep.
Because they still have the good old Garland even 500 years in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this resistance group that's fighting against EX, and AG sort of meets this girl who's involved with the resistance group, and he's sort of like caught between the man. Oh, by the way, that hacker's name, Kevin Mitnick.
Okay.
That's his name?
That's right.
And it was on top of my tongue. Kevin Mitnick, very famous hacker who got arrested, went to jail, and is now a security consultant.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you know, AG's run into this rebellion, and it goes out into this all-out rebellion against the system and the man. And
Wow.
you know, he finds out that at the end that the Earth has been completely restored, but
Mhm.
the city is like this mechanical monster that is now encroaching on the Earth and destroying nature, and it keeps expanding. And you see it's kind of nasty looking from the outside of the city.
Yep.
It's just this giant monster that keeps expanding, whereas
Wow.
on the inside of the city, it's this bright utopia. But it's pretty ugly from the outside.
Jeez.
Mhm.
So it's sort of, you know, I guess it's like sort of a play on, you know, something can be beautiful on the outside but ugly on the inside.
Yep.
This is sort of the backwards. On the inside, to those who don't know better, it's beautiful, but on the outside to nature,
Wow.
it's this horrible destructive force.
That's quite the contrast.
So they end up taking down the system, and they do it by getting this data from Shogo's Garland, which they find the ruins of the old Megazone 23, and Shogo's beat up Garland.
Yep.
And
Oh, wow.
kind of the interesting thing is the head of the system is this guy named Wandai, and you know, he's all like hooked into the machine and yada yada, and AG confronts him at the end.
Yeah.
And one of the things that people have been supposing over the years is that this guy Wandai, based on the way he talks, but also by his Japanese voice actor, that Wandai is actually Shogo.
Wow. How's that
Yeah.
possible?
I kind of got that feeling too.
Because Shogo was, when AG meets Eve, she makes him the new operator of 7G, which is what Shogo was called as well in the first two.
Yeah.
She says that Shogo was supposed
Yeah.
to do something, but he wasn't able to. and that's
Right.
what she selected AG to be the new operator of 7G to do.
Right.
And the way that this guy Wandai talks, like, oh, I've been hooked up to a machine for so long, and I haven't seen anything with my real eyes, and just the way he talks, but also the fact that he has the same voice actor as Shogo from Part 2, kind of leads me to believe that he is Shogo, and that like somehow, like he started up this system to help people, but then sort of it took him over. And sort of like polluted and corrupted him.
Goodness.
Oh yeah, it's that typical
that
typical argument when it comes to technology. You can't
Exactly.
control it anymore, and
Yeah.
it overtakes you. And
Yeah.
So
one of the things that sticks out about Part 3 is it's a lot more cyberpunk than the first two. It's focused. There's a lot of focus on like computer hacking, and not hacking like in the way of like that god awful Hackers movie, but a lot more focus on it feels kind of like similar to like that novel Neuromancer, if you've read that, by William Gibson.
yeah,
There's a lot of focus on the computer world, and they could tail into that, and really not as much ultra violence as Part 1 or 2. No sex for AG, so
no,
he doesn't get to score.
Oh no.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I don't know, but a lot of people really hate Part 3. Some of them even more than Part 2, and I liked Part 3. It's not as good as Part 1, but it's a good standalone story, and I definitely think it's way better than Part 2.
yeah. I would agree with you there, and I like that. Instead of just doing like a few years later or anything like that, it was like 500 years later, and it just kind of showed that okay, the program happened, these people were put back on here, and then basically the same thing is happening again with the computer, and it's taken over everything. But yeah, I would agree with you that it's much better than the second part. It's still not as good as the first part, but the first part is a must-see for anybody. And then once you're done, you got to see Part 2 and Part 3. You'll definitely want more, but don't be too concerned. You might get disappointed.
So, what's your overall rating for Megazone 23 parts 1?
I think the first part I would give like a 4.5. Second part like a 3. The third part like a 3.5, maybe 3 and 3.75.
Wow.
So
and Chris, what were your totals on MAHQ?
Actually, pretty much the same as Paul. Part 1, I gave a 4.
Oh really?
Part 2, let's see here, a 3. And Part 3, I gave, let's see here,
Right.
a 3.5.
3.5.
Nice.
Yeah, wow. I haven't seen Part 3, so I guess that'll be to be determined. But my reviews of parts 1 and 2 are the same as yours, 4 and then 3, because Part 2 did fall off a little bit, I'd have to say.
Quite a bit.
Now, before we wrap this up, interesting note about the future of the franchise. A few years ago, it was announced that they were going to make a new OAV that was sort of supposed to be like an alternate sequel to Part 1 and kind of ignoring Part 2. But then it never happened. And instead, there was a PS3 game that came out last year called Blue Garland.
Thank God.
Which, from the sounds of it, I think they might have just canceled the OAV and turned it into this game.
A video game.
Because the story is, roughly, that it's set 20 years after Part 1.
Wow.
But it ignores Part 2, from what I understand.
Oh, cool.
And it stars this guy, let me look up on Wiki, who is the son of Yui.
Okay.
And therefore also Shogo.
Well, that's pretty cool. I saw it on I saw a picture of the cover on Wikipedia. Hopefully it'll come out here, but
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I heard it was a pretty crappy game.
Yeah.
Oh. Well then, darn.
So
maybe it's not. Maybe it's for the best then.
So he ends up, piloting a Garland as well, and there's all this other stuff, and it looks like, I'm looking at it on the wiki entry, looks like Eve's in it too. So, it'd be nice if it came here, or if we at least got some sort of description of, what the story was. But I really would like it if Megazone came back. I mean, we've seen a lot of old franchises having entries in the last few years. There's a new, you got 00 on, there's a new Macross, new Votomes. So there's a lot of life still left in these old franchises. So I think Megazone would be ripe for a return. Maybe something like like a sequel in between parts 2 and 3 that sort of picks up after part 2 and explains more things about that and leads into part 3 more.
Yeah,
exactly.
That would be good.
So I think there's definitely a lot that can still be done with this franchise, and it's still got some life left into it. Any other final comments on the franchise?
No, just my last thing would be is if you want something different and want something new, something that'll make you think, go ahead and get part 1 and watch all the other ones.
Or pick up the Megazone 2-3 collection. It's at Best Buy and other retailers from ADV. Not to act like a commercial for it, but it's out there. And just wraps up the second segment on Gundam at MAHQ, and we'll be right back.
Where's my froggy? Where's my froggy?
I don't know. I didn't see it want to come in.
Well, look! Damn your eyes! Look for it!
Hey everybody, welcome back to Gundam at MAHQ. This is Chris, and last episode we started a 2-part series on the mind of Yoshiyuki Tomino. So today is part 2 of Super Tomino Wars.
Yay.
And in the first segment, we took a look at some of our thoughts on things in Tomino's Gundam works, some themes of his that we like, some themes that we didn't like, and this time we're going to look at non-Gundam shows. So I think probably the best starting point is one of his more well-known non-Gundam shows, and that would be Space Runaway Ideon.
Oh, nice. No.
So have either of you guys seen Ideon before?
Yes, I've seen the show and the movies.
Okay.
Both movies.
As for me, I'm going to be the audience on this one, so fire away.
All right, so we're not going to jump into like the stories of these shows, but very briefly, it's this show about these people who are colonizing this planet and excavating alien ruins, and they find these these 3 trucks buried in there, these giant red trucks. Then these aliens come and attack because they're looking for this power of the Ide. And basically it's sort of like an escape story, kind of like the original Gundam series, where they find this spaceship and they hop aboard this spaceship and they're trying to get back to Earth, and they keep coming under attack by the Buff Clan frequently.
Yep.
And throughout the course of the show, Cosmo, the star, and the other parts of the Ideon discover that it has all these sorts of freaky powers.
Oh, God.
That just get, more powerful as the show progresses, to the point that later on it has these beam swords coming out of his hands that can slice an entire moon in half.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah. And the series is pretty well known for its apocalyptic ending.
Oh, boy.
Where at the end everybody dies. Everybody, both humans and the Buff Clan, which are also humans. And both species are just wiped out entirely. And everybody has some pretty gruesome deaths. And if you look on YouTube, Ideon deaths, there's like this 1-minute sequence like set to classical music. It's just a compilation of everybody dying, which has people pregnant women getting shot up in the face, little 5-year-old girls having their heads blown off by bazookas.
Oh my God, that was like that was one of the worst fatalities in that whole show.
Flying heads.
Flying heads.
That was another good one.
And all sorts of other decapitations, and this show is probably where Tomino solidified his kill 'em all status. And for those who don't know, Ideon was his immediate follow-up to Gundam.
Yep.
And coincidentally, the first episode aired the day that I was born.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Yep, May 8th, 1980. So yeah, I'm an old bastard.
It must be fate.
Yeah, and kind of like Gundam, the show was canceled early because it didn't, I guess, have such good ratings, or maybe the toys didn't sell.
Right.
But unlike Gundam, Tomino couldn't get an extension to do the last 4 episodes. So the series just really ends on this awkward note, and it just ends, practically. It's like the end.
Pretty much.
But I guess because of the popularity of the Gundam movies, Tomino got a chance to go back. So he made the 2 movies, A Contact, which is a sort of a compilation of the first 32 episodes.
Yeah.
And then Be Invoked, which is a retelling of the 39th episode, as well as what the final 4 episodes would have been in fantastic, early 80s movie quality animation. So one of the things, I do enjoy the show, but that stands about this show, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, is that most of the cast on either is pretty unlikable.
Right.
And I don't know if Tomino was just trying to create like a harsh world with none too lovable characters, or this was just a byproduct of how he created the show. But
Yeah.
personally, for most of the show, especially the first half, the only characters that I could identify with, and maybe you'd agree, Paul, is Bess Jordan and Kerala.
Yeah. Yeah.
They pretty much seem the only sympathetic ones. Even Cosmo, I mean, he's kind of a dick, and I could not stand Kasha.
Kasha, and what was the kid? Deck?
Yeah, Deck, with his little blue squirrel.
Yeah, I couldn't stand that kid either. I agree with you. I think what made that more shocking was that you're more shocked of how the person died instead of who died.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, man, we're losing a great character. It's like, oh, my God. Why are you killing him like that?
The show had a lot of Tomino-isms in the first half,
Oh, yeah.
but then in the second half it really kicks off. The first half you have a lot of, Buff Clan, like, new guy X shows up and, with this new heavy mobile mecha, I'll surely defeat the giant god.
Yeah.
And at the end of the episode he gets destroyed and he's like, damn you, giant god!
Yeah. It was a lot of that.
It's like after a while, if every time I heard Kyojin me, it's like, oh man, how many more times is this going to happen? But then the story starts to change around the second half with some new characters, and the series really kicks into high gear all the way to the end. But that was one of the things that is really repetitive in the beginning. It kind of feels like Gundam, where, every episode almost there was like some new Xeon guy in some crappy new mobile suit or some piece of crap mobile. Like, oh, I'll definitely beat the Gundam.
Well, not only that, but it was the fact that the Ideon looked like a big Jim. Big GM.
Well, that's why people call it the god of GMs.
It is the god of GMs. Yeah, I think the turning point was when they meet up with the Earth fleet, and then the Earth fleet's trying to get the Ideon from them, and basically from that point on, that's when they realized that this is a really big, powerful machine that nobody should really be messing with. They didn't want to mess with it, but they knew it was probably safer in their hands than the Earth fleet or Buff Clan. Yeah. There's lots of desperation in that show.
Yeah, one of the things that the second half of the show and the second movie really, really do well is the sense of desperation, where as the situation goes on and people start dying and, all these battles keep happening, that these people are in an utterly hopeless situation. They're rejected by their homeland, who, questions them and, wants the Ideon. They're constantly chased by the Buff Clan, and it's like you just really get this sense of utter hopelessness. These people are just doomed no matter what they try. I mean, they just keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, and nothing ever goes downhill steadily towards the end, where, by the end of the second movie, where they're forced to fight because basically the entire galaxy is surrounded and there's just no way for them to escape, and you just, to the very last one, dying usually pretty brutal deaths and in this utterly hopeless situation. So the series does that very well, but you have to put up with a really repetitive first half that has really unlikable characters and just a lot of repetitive cannon fodder guys who want to come and destroy it, but get killed by the end of the episode.
Pretty much. So
you get the jerk off of the week instead of the monster of the week. Excellent.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Moving on to the next one, we got a show called Zabungle.
Well, actually, before you progress, wasn't there another Tomino series beforehand that he actually killed off almost all the characters? Also,
yeah, I believe that's.
I can't remember if it was
Zambot
3. Was it Zambot?
Zambot 3, yeah, that was
Zambot 3.
the show he did before Gundam.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was sort of like more traditionally Super Robot, and it's a pretty silly show. So I prefer to like start with his 80s stuff.
Which I don't blame you for at all, but he kind of got his feet wet with that one. And
that's where the Kill 'Em All started.
Yeah.
Zabungle is sort of this comedic show. I only ever saw the first episode, and really can't comment too much on it. It's kind of similar to Gundam X in some respects.
Right.
I really can't even remember what the kid's name was, who was the pilot of the mecha, but definitely very different in tone from Ideon, and I kind of noticed an interesting pattern here, which is that Tomino would alternate very serious shows with very lighthearted shows.
Yeah.
He did Ideon, which is obviously a very dark show. Follows it up with Zabungle, a very lighthearted show.
Right.
Then launches into our next topic of discussion, Dunbine.
Yes, sir.
And then he follows that up with L Game, which is a very comedic show.
Yeah.
Which he then followed up with Zeta Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that,
Double
the very
Zeta.
different Double Zeta. So I thought that was kind of I don't know if that was deliberate or just something that kind of worked out that way.
It just goes to show that he's what's that term?
Manic depressive.
He's bipolar.
Yeah.
And
Bipolar, maybe.
And it reflects in his production.
Speaking of bipolar, Dunbine, what do you guys think overall about some of the themes in that show?
Oh, everybody, you might as well go get a drink because we're gonna be on this one for a while. Now, Dunbine I have seen in its entirety, and when I watched the show, it was kind of slow going at first. I mean, I like the whole, and I'm going to pull another literary reference, the whole Yankee and King Arthur's Court. Routine. That's right.
Well, I would agree with that. That does apply.
There you go. There you go. With a man Shozama, and he gets pulled into a alien situation, and I love the it's the first I think it's the first anime where I ever saw any kind of racial epithets thrown. So
with all the Yankee stuff and Jap and
exactly. When Todd Guinness
with Todd Guinness named after an awesome beer.
Yeah, Todd Guinness, the pride of Boston. He's straight out of Southie. He when he's running up in show and decks him in the eye, and he can see that those two are not going to get along, even though they have to be on the same side. Set the pace for that show and their rivalry, and granted, it's not the greatest rivalry, but I like the tension between those two. The development of the show was kind of a yo-yo to me, where some episodes it was going places and other episodes would kind of meander. But there's a point in the show where things really step up. Like I'll stop talking. I'll let Neo go into a little bit of his impressions on the show. But go ahead.
Well, I enjoyed the show. I liked the fact that Shozama was kind of disinterested throughout the whole show. He just seemed kind of just disinterested with being part of the rebellion, doing this. He just wanted to go home, and a lot of times, a lot of the people were just kind of driving him insane.
Exactly.
And it had some great characters. I like Bam Bunnings, especially when he became the Dark Knight, or the Black Knight. I'm sorry, not the Dark Knight.
What about the baddest man in the dress?
Baddest man in the dress.
Shot weapon. Can't mess with that name.
I definitely like the incorporation of kind of the fantasy genre into the mech. I thought that was really cool. The mechs were really kind of neat. I mean, as the Dunbine is like the major title suit, but I still think to me the best suit was the Bilbine.
Really? Yeah, the Bilbine was cool.
The Bilbine because it transformed.
I had a soft heart for the Donnie O'Shea, the ultimate grunt mech.
But it was a great kind of roller coaster ride. You could definitely see that he wanted to go one way at the beginning, and he definitely made a turn in the end. And talk about one of your shocking ends.
Yes.
Kind of like in Ideon, where kind of no one makes it back.
Except for Chumfao.
What's that? Oh yeah, Chumfao.
And she reappears under a pseudonym in L Game. Oh man.
Pretty much.
Speaking of deaths, I have to say one of the coldest deaths I've ever witnessed is in Dunbine. When what's her name? The daughter of Drake Luft? Emily. Oh.
Shot in the face by her own mother.
Oh, gets shot by her mom?
Exactly. Shot square in the dome by her mother. No hesitation. And you could see it coming. They foreshadowed it earlier on in the series that, if pushed, her mother would kill her in a heartbeat for her own survival, or, just to cut all ties. But to actually see it happen was so shocking. And then after that, what's his name? My friend Neil Gibbons, Lucky Charms himself. He got his sweet revenge. I mean, that pretty much set him over the edge. But to see her execution like that was really shocking. Granted, Ideon notwithstanding. That was some cold stuff.
It was, and it shocked me because I saw Dunbine before Ideon, and one of the things I really liked about Dunbine, even though there were some episodes that dragged in the middle, Byston Well was this. You really got this well-created world that was, not just like a medieval stand-in for Earth, but a very unique world that was alive on its own.
Yeah,
exactly,
definitely.
And I thought that. The war got really intense once they switched it to Earth, because one of the side effects is that, the aura power is much more devastating on Earth. So, like a single shot from an aura battler can destroy an entire city on Earth or something.
See it, Paris.
And it just winds up to this apocalyptic battle where the stakes keep going up and up and up, and everybody's dying, and to the point where, the very end when Show and
Burn Burnings,
they just jump out of their battered mecha and stab each other with swords in midair.
Yeah.
Which I thought was just amazing.
It really stepped up throughout the entire last battle. I mean, I even like when they foreshadowed the fact that they would get to that point when Galeria and Show go to Earth for a short period. And, Galeria doesn't make it back because, her aura power just, over explodes when they're trying to transition back to Byston Well, which I was really sad to see her go because I thought her character could have had more playtime on the screen, especially given her her kind of tumultuous past for her family. But that was a really cool foreshadowing. And I like the fact that Show as a character, he had everything he wanted on Earth. He got sent to Byston Well. Well, I mean, granted, his family was rich and affluent. I wouldn't say ultimately rich, but, they had money.
Well-to-do.
Yeah, well-to-do. He was kind of a spoiled child, but, he was well-centered regardless. And, he gets sent to Byston Well, and he's given the same kind of luxuries. Granted, he has to be, in servitude to Drake Luft. And, he becomes, he's not the type of character you see as the lead in the show, but he's still, he's still held his position in the show very well. I like his character a lot. And I guess one of the few people that like Marvel Frozen, too. I don't know about Neo, but go ahead.
I was glad when she died.
Dang. Aw. That's a lot of hate, man. But anyway, since we got a couple of more shows to cover, next entry is L Games. So have you guys check that show out?
Yes.
I watched the first 10 episodes and I liked what I saw. I have to watch the rest.
I went all the way half through, and then the copy I have it started screwing up on like 3 of the episodes. So.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, I did finish off the show. So briefly, one of the things that I liked about this show was that the protagonist, Daba Myrode, he's this pretty upbeat guy, which is kind of surprising if you find out his background, which is that he's part of this royal family that, was destroyed, and he's like one of the last survivors, and he's just sort of like out wandering with his wise Alec friend, whose name I forget, and they get caught up in this whole, interstellar thing with this mysterious guy, Commandera, and, fighting against the Portas. And one of the things I liked about this show was that, Dunbine had the loser nemesis, Barnings, the Proto-Jared.
Right.
And then in L Game, you also have another loser nemesis, Gavlet Gable, who is really annoying and really gets on your nerves for most of the show because he's there so much. Unlike a lot of other Tomino shows where antagonists will go away for 10 episodes and then he comes back, this guy's pretty much there the whole time. But what's interesting about him is at the end of the show, he actually switches sides and becomes a good guy.
Wow.
Which is very unlike where the way a loser nemesis is supposed to go. So definitely one of the best parts about the show, which also kind of dragged on in some parts, is that you have this interstellar scope here where you have these 4 planets that are ruled by the mysterious immortal Olda Poseidon. And I don't want to spoil anything, but what you find out about Poseidon is very different from the image that's projected out for most of the series, and has kind of a pretty bittersweet ending.
Oh, wow. Is that the woman that they always show in the opening at the end?
Yeah, the woman who's kind of ethereal looking. And always in a shade of blue.
Very much so. That's it. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, totally. When you find out what's really going on there, it's not anything of what it seems. So what did you think from at least what you saw, Paul?
I enjoyed it. Like you said, the characters were, especially the main character, he was a lot more enjoyable. He was a lot more upbeat. I definitely saw, until you really noticed, until you said it while we were talking about this, I hadn't really noticed the whole thing. It seems like he just goes from a serious to a more comedic-driven show. But I thought it was a good show. I know a lot of people consider it probably one of his best shows. Outside of Zeta Gundam, and once I can get a decent copy that doesn't start screwing up around episode 26 for like the next 4 episodes, it just pixelates from hell, and it's really, I can't deal with that. But
just another note to Sunrise and Bandai: bring it here, so we don't have to look at it.
But
no, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen.
Nah, it's not gonna happen at all.
I might as well keep dreaming.
But no, definitely something that people should check out. But I'd probably say it is up there with one.
It's definitely a solid show. So
from what I saw, probably one of his best works.
Next, we're going to jump into the 90s, and we're not going to bother mentioning Garci's Wing because I never saw it, and it's just a Dunbine-related story, and most people say it's a piece of crap. So we'll just leave it at that and go with the majority opinion. So we'll come back now to Brain Powered, which was the first TV show he directed after Victory Gundam. So you guys check out Brain Powered before?
Yeah,
I read the manga. I never got to see the anime. So, but
TV show's pretty much exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much the same.
Yeah, where the main character's parents were kind of on the opposite side. They were the ones behind the invasion, I guess, or they're part of the invasion from inside the Earth. I guess it was kind of the opposite of your normal invasion from outer space. It came from inside the planet itself, right? And
and this mysterious orphan thing.
Yeah.
And personally, I found this series to just be really, really, really confusing. I mean, it starts off. There's a 2-year time skip in the middle of the episode during the break. There's a bunch of stuff introduced. You hear all this stuff about orphans and orphan and grand shares and antibodies, and it's like all this junk is just thrown out at you, and it's never explained. You're watching the first episode and you feel like you're watching the middle of a show.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's even harder to follow than the beginning of Gasaraki.
Wasn't
it is.
This big stab at the kind of Evangelion type show where it kind of has like a bunch of mystery in it, which I don't understand.
Bunch of mystery, but it's never explained. And
yeah,
there's a lot of Tomino-isms. There's a masked woman.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that just inexplicably happen. There's parent-child issues. One of the main characters is Uesami, who his parents, they're both the scientists that are in charge of Orphan, which is this strange thing in the ocean. And the series gets a little bit better as it progresses, but then by the time it ends, it's like, it's not better than the sum of its parts. He's a pretty interesting character, and the romance between him and Hime is pretty well developed.
Yeah.
As far as Tomino romances go, I think it's one of his better attempts. It's got a really nice soundtrack by Yoko Kanno.
Yeah, that's the best part of the show to me, I'd have to say, from the little I've seen of it. But
the thing is, a lot of the staff from Brain Powered went on, including voice actors, Yoko Kanno, other people, would immediately follow Tomino into Turn A Gundam the next year.
Yeah,
I've noticed that's another thing. He tends to reuse a lot of the same staff,
which I think is smart,
in consecutive shows.
Yeah.
If you look at the voice numbers, like you'll see in a lot of people from Gundam in Idion, and then a lot of people from Dunbine in L Game and Zeta. So he kind of, picks people that he likes, he uses them again. Like, for example, the voice actress who plays Hime shows up again in Turn A as Soshi, and one of the orphan pilots, what was her name? I forgot.
Yeah,
shows up
as
in Laurent.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, of course, you got Yoko Kanno coming over. So that's another interesting trend of his, that he, picks certain staff members, whether it's musicians or voice actors that I guess he likes to work with, and uses them in his, subsequent projects. But overall, I think Brain Powered, it's a show that's worth watching to say you've seen it, but, just the way it's structured, I think Tomino just really did that show a disservice by making it too mystical and too obtuse.
Yeah, I got completely lost in it. I saw like the first 10 episodes on the on-demand channel here, and I was watching it, and I was trying to keep going, and I finally just kind of gave up, mainly because I think they took it off or I lost track. But I agree with you with the Tomino-isms. They were there. They were good. I could see some good parts to it, but I did get pretty lost and very quickly.
Yeah, the good parts never really developed to what they could have been. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate that the show turned out that way.
I still want my degree in Tomino, so I'll have to watch the copy of it I have on the shelf here.
You'll have to queue it up.
Yeah.
There's a complete collection out there, so it's pretty cheap these days. But
we got it here right here on the shelf here. I have to pop it in sometime and just blow through it just to experience it, and then watch some other Tomino shows too, I guess.
And on that note, let's move along to something much better, which is full of dancing mecha. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Overman King Gainer.
Oh, and I've only seen half the show, but I think I from watching it, I like the upbeat feel of it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, there's some high stress situations, but I'm overall impressed. I think he after doing Turn A Gundam, where he had a much more controlled story, and a much better developed story. He was on a roll, so he did Overman King Gainer, and used some of the same kind of staff members he carried over a lot of people from Turn A to Overman King Gainer. Akiman and another Capcom artist. I forget her name, but but anyway, she was did the character art for King Gainer and some of the same voice actors. But for the most part, King Gainer is a fun show. I like the whole Exodus plot where they're trying to get to Japan, which we all know is Japan.
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat. And it's somewhat predictable, but at the same time, the thing that really impresses me about the show is not only the fight scenes with the mecha, but the fight scenes and the choreography with the characters.
Yeah.
Watch that show, and you see any fight scenes, any melee scenes where what's his name? Gain is fighting someone, or even Miss Adet is fighting somebody. It's really well done. It's incredible, and I love Miss Adet.
Yeah.
She's like the blonde Chun-Li, but we'll leave it at that.
I guess we will leave it at that. But
no. You can. What were your thoughts on the show?
Personally, I really liked it. It was a really fun show. It doesn't take itself seriously at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you got all these characters who are just bizarre, but in an interesting way. You've got this world that's really weird. That's this frozen tundra in Siberia, and everybody lives in these domes. And committing exodus is this crime where all these people are trying to get to this paradise, which is Japan, and
exactly.
they're being chased by the Siberian Railroad. So yeah, it sort of has for a lot of for the first half of the show, there's sort of like that monster of the week formula. A new Overman shows up, and Gainer fights it, but it just has all these really interesting characters that are all very colorful, whether it's, the princess with her 3 squirrels.
That's right.
Or, and her, tutor to, gain the Exodus expert, who's kind of mysterious. Sarah, that Gainer kind of has a thing for. And even, Adet Kistler, who starts off as, an enemy pilot, but then turns into the, Gainer's teacher,
exactly,
/ live-in roommate,
and sleeps naked.
And you certainly know that Tomino's having fun when you get that episode where she ends up in this relay race with Sarah.
Yeah.
And then at the end, she only wins in a photo finish because her breasts are so much larger, and that's why she wins the race.
A win I can't dispute.
Me neither. But I just like that the show doesn't take itself seriously at all, and it has some common elements from any mecha show, Accidental Teenage Pilot, Monsters of the Week, but it's just really done in a fresh way.
Yeah,
exactly.
In a way that you can sit back and laugh and enjoy yourself and just have fun with. What about you, Paul?
I saw the first 5 episodes, so I don't know too much about it, but I like shows like that don't take themselves too seriously, that they basically they're just there to have fun. And it seemed that he kind of, I know everybody's always saying that Tomino is like a depressed guy and all this stuff, but it seems here this is where maybe he got things in his life straight and he was just happy with life. It kind of had that a little bit better feeling than Turn A did, and Turn A was a good feeling show.
Yeah.
But I definitely need to check this out because I do like I like mecha shows that don't take themselves too seriously a lot of times, and it's just a fun ride, and it's just done really well with a good story in it. So
exactly.
And the last stop on our tour of Tomino, for the moment at least, is Wings of Rian, which is
boo,
a Dunbine OAV. So did you guys check that out?
Oh, I saw the first episode, and
I'm afraid to.
Oh
yeah. My thoughts. Yeah, where exactly do you start?
It was just so convoluted, and
it's the classic case of F91 where you have the whole story in the novel and you couldn't fit it all in the amount of time given in an OVA or a movie situation.
I
guess.
So
it becomes scatterbrained and it becomes very disjointed and unstructured. And
well,
because
the thing is about Wings of Rian. There is a novel called Wings of Rian, but it's a totally different story.
Yeah, it's not the same story.
Not the same story.
I just don't know why he didn't adapt that. But I guess the original novel didn't have any aura battlers in it, and it took place in World War II. Or at least it started off that way with a World War II ace or something like that.
Yeah, there's a World War II ace who ends up in Beistenwell, and he becomes the Emperor.
Wow!
And now he's planning to conquer Earth. But that's Wings of Rian, the anime version. But the thing about the first episode is, it's just this really confusing mishmash of just a bunch of junk because the main character, ASAP, he's got these friends who are sort of like anti-American, and they're like doing this like attack on this American military base. I guess, sort of like a prank or something, but things start going out of control, and they're being chased around the base by the American military, and then suddenly out of nowhere, these, like, Beistenwell battleships start flying out, and everybody starts shooting at each other, and ASAP and all these guys are running around, everybody's chasing each other, and it's just, what the hell is going on here?
Visuals look good, but
the visuals were great, but it's just
it made no sense.
Such a mess, and
yeah.
The way the first episode ends, it's like it doesn't end in a way that really encourages you to want to watch more.
And it basically encouraged me not to watch it.
Yeah, me too.
Because it was just like at least with F91, there was some semblance of you could understand what was going on.
Yeah.
Even though that was like an original. It was supposed to be like a 50-episode show.
Yeah.
And they put it into like a 2-hour movie. The Wings, like Chris said, I mean, you see these kids, you don't really know much about them. They start going around, they're running, and then these ships show up, and everybody just starts attacking each other.
No
and it
explanation,
made no
sense.
Huh?
No explanation as to why they showed up. Just
no,
they
just show up.
At least not in the first episode.
No.
So basically, as far as I see it, for a director who's as experienced as Tomino, to put together such a sloppy thing is really disappointing for someone who's such a veteran like he is, with 40 years of experience in the industry.
Yeah.
So I don't know where his heart was in this project. Eventually, I'll have to watch, the rest of the show once those expensive Bandai Visual DVDs are in the bargain bin.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't plan on paying like $40 or $50 for each 2-episode DVD.
No.
The show when it did so little to catch my interest. So
exactly.
As a Dunbine fan, I was really looking forward to something set in the Dunbine universe. But then when I saw what I saw, it's like it really turned me off. So I don't know if he was just being lazy with this or what. But from the first episode, especially with a show that's only 6 episodes, you have so little time to make an impression and get your point across. You can make a misstep on the first episode of a 50-episode show and recover.
Yeah.
But when the first episode is 1/6 of your entire show, you really gotta use that time more wisely and
because it did nothing.
Tell a different story.
It did nothing for the story.
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. I mean, stuff happens, but not to want you to watch it.
Well, Chris, just out of curiosity, what did you give it on MAHQ just overall, that series?
I probably would have gave it like a 1.5.
Oh, I didn't even review it. It's being reviewed by Brian Shea.
Oh wow. Then
and he hasn't touched Wings of Rian. I don't know if he is. He's he's busy with Gasaraki right now, so. Yeah, by the way, a big exclusive announcement. I've been talking for years about doing Gasaraki, but I'm just so busy that there's just no way I can review that show with all the other stuff I have to do. So I decided to hand it off to Brian. So he's working on reviews for Gasaraki.
Nice.
Coming soon to MAHQ.
It's nice to see that show being reviewed. I'd like to get more insight on that show, so I'll definitely read
Interesting to see what he'll have to say on it. But yeah, overall, the first episode, and I saw it, years ago. I would give just the first episode like a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I mean,
yeah, really rough and disappointing, not just as an anime, but also as a Dunbine anime. So
that hurts.
Really, not something I would recommend going off the first episode. I'd have to see more for a final judgment, but the first episode doesn't do much. So for now, that's pretty much the end of Super Tomino Wars because he followed this up with the Zeta movies, and for right now, he's been pretty quiet. I mean, he's been doing a lot of Gundam appearances at events with Gact and some voice actors. So we don't know what he's up to. He's pretty much indicated that he's done with Gundam, but
no, I just would like to add one last thing. Tomino to me is a fantastic author. And after reading the one Gundam novel that was brought here, the Awakening, Escalation, and Confrontation novel, I like to read his books on Beistonwell if they ever
get translated.
Dare take a chance to bring him here, because I'm pretty sure it's a pretty rich universe, and they're probably enjoyable reads. And I hope one day I get to read them because, he prides himself as a novelist, so I'll take him at his word and hopefully get to read some of his works someday.
Yeah. So overall, I would say Tomino is one of my favorite anime directors. I would not say the favorite because I don't even know if there is one that I can name as my favorite. There's a lot of directors that I like, but there's a lot of varied opinions on him. Some people think he's absolute crap with, and some other people think that he's the greatest director ever, which I also don't agree with. So I think he's got a lot of talents. Sometimes the stuff that he produces can be a little murky at parts, whether it's on character or plot development, but he also has a lot of talents that he excels at, and let's face it, he created the best known anime series ever, and the biggest anime franchise ever. So even if he doesn't create every great series, he created a great franchise that lasted for a long time. So you could sort of equate him as sort of like a Gene Roddenberry or a George Lucas. They weren't the best writers or directors or whatever, but they created a universe with a lot of big ideas and a big sandbox for other people to play in.
Exactly.
So I think in the end, that's probably one of the best things you can say about Tomino. Any final thoughts on Tomino as a whole, Paul?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you on the same aspect. I don't think he's my favorite. I don't, because I really don't know who my favorite would be either, to be honest with you, because there's so many good shows out there. It is nice, like you said, he is responsible for one of the biggest franchises ever in the anime industry. But what kind of sets him apart from other people and these other directors is that he had great successes with other shows that were completely different than what Gundam was. Yeah. And I think that's really his strength. And, I think that's, the day that comes when Tomino passes, it's going to probably be a really sad day in Japan, and I'm sure a sad day all across the world with all the people that watched a lot of these shows, because he's not only influenced people as anime watchers and storytellers, but he's influenced direction, the direction and how to create a lot of these different shows that we see. I mean, there's so many shows that have been done by other people that you can see are definitely influenced by Mr. Tomino. So
he's only in his 60s, so he's still got many years.
You never know.
You never know, but
yeah.
So that wraps up our two-part segment on the mind of Tomino, and we'll probably be discussing a lot of these shows in more detail in future anime spotlights. So with that, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back on Gundam at MAHQ.
Hold my hand.
You kidding me, man?
Hold my goddamn hand, man!
Hey everybody, this is Chris, and that wraps up another super long episode of Gundam at MAHQ.
Sorry, folks.
Seems like these things keep getting longer and longer, but we're going to try to work on that in the future. So this episode, we took a brief look at the Megazone 23 franchise as part of the second installment of our Anime Spotlight. We also took a pretty detailed look at the Gundam Seed franchise and some thoughts on where it went wrong and how we could, fix it if we were in charge, which obviously we're not. And then we wrapped up with our second part into the mind of Yoshiyuki Tomino, Super Tomino Wars Part 2, taking a look at all of his non-Gundam shows. So before we close, I'd just like to, as always, thank all of our listeners who, whether they just listen to the podcast or they post on Mecha Talk, who are constantly giving us feedback. I would have never thought that so many people would pick up Votomes just from our recommendation of it. So I'm glad that people are listening and that they're experiencing new anime and seeing new things. So that's what we're here to do. And do we want to tease anybody on topics for next episode? Have we even thought about next episode yet?
I don't think we have.
I don't think so. I think it's a blank slate for now. But
then we'll tease you with nothing.
Yes. Something will be mech related.
There's a lot of great suggestions on the board right now for next topic. So we actually will probably pull from some of those for the next episode, just to let the listeners be more of a part of the show. I think that's a great idea actually. But we'll definitely have more information on the forums at mechatalk.net, and also always check out mahq.net. That's the main our main launch site for Gundam at MAHQ, of course. There's also the MySpace site, which is myspace.com/Gundam the show. And of course, you can find us on Podshow, which is where our the episodes are posted for Gundam,
and also on iTunes.
And also on iTunes, and just search for Gundam on iTunes, and you'll find us there. Reach us by email also at gundammahq@gmail.com.
That does it for us. So say goodbye, guys.
See you later, folks, and thank you for all the feedback on the forums, and keep it coming.
Yeah, please keep it coming. It's much appreciated.
And that's a wrap, and we'll see you guys next time.
I'm glad it's you who's giving me a ride. The way I feel right now, it'd be too easy to get shot down out there.
You shouldn't be hesitant at all. You're the only one with the qualifications to lead the AUG right now.
I don't even know where my own future lies. Do you think I can do this job?
The masses always like to have a hero to look up to.
You're asking me to play the part of a clown here.
I'm just saying that it's your turn to take center stage. We're still acting out the same old script.
Gun at MAHQ is a Shinjuku Station and MAHQ production.